Special thanks to Motion Array for sponsoring today's video. One underrated tool video editors often overlook inside Premiere Pro are adjustment layers. That's why in this video, I'm going to be going over what they are, how to create them, and some practical ways you can use them inside Premiere Pro as a video editor. All right, so first, what is an adjustment layer? An adjustment layer is a clip that you can put over other clips in your timeline, and the effects that are applied to that clip affect all the other clips underneath it. So this can be used in a variety of ways, but let's first see how to create an adjustment layer inside Premiere Pro. So I'm inside Premiere Pro and I have a project opened up and I want to create an adjustment layer. To create an adjustment layer, you can navigate to the project panel and click on the new item button on the bottom right-hand corner of the project panel. Then click on adjustment layer. The new adjustment layer dialog box will appear, and depending on your video settings of your current sequence, this will be filled in. Just make sure that it matches and everything looks correct, then click OK. You'll notice that a new item will appear inside the project panel called adjustment layer. You can then click and drag out this new item into your timeline. This acts like any other clip, so you can click on it. You can see the effects controls pops up here. You can trim the adjustment layer. So let's say if I want this adjustment layer over all these clips, you can click and drag it out. And as I mentioned earlier, the effects applied to this clip will affect all the clips underneath it. So let's say if we add an effect to this adjustment layer, let's navigate to our effects panel. If you don't see the effects panel, you can go up to Window Effects. Let's search for tint. So I'm going to search for tint and then click and drag this to my adjustment layer. You can see that we've added the tint effect to this adjustment layer, and it affects both of these clips because these clips are underneath this adjustment layer. Another common way that you can use an adjustment layer is to add a simple zoom in, zoom out over a period of time. For example, I'm going to get rid of this tint effect. Let's say if I wanted to slowly zoom in over time on these two clips of the time lapse. It would be hard to do that without an adjustment layer. You would have to, zoom in, keyframe the scale of this clip, and then zoom in and scale this clip separately. But with an adjustment layer, you can apply the effect and zoom in on both clips over time. So for example, here to show how that would work, you can search for the transform effect. So I'm going to search for transform inside my effects panel, and then underneath transform, I'm going to click and drag the transform effect to the adjustment layer. Then I'm going to click and drag my playhead to the beginning of the timeline. Scroll down, and we can keyframe the scale. I'm going to click on the stopwatch, go to the very end of my adjustment layer here, and then maybe go up to 110%. And now when we click and play this back, you can see that we've added a slight zoom in to this adjustment layer. It's affecting the clip underneath it. And when it cuts to the other clip, you can see it also maintains that effect as we keep zooming in on the second clip there. So those are a few practical ways that you can use adjustment layers. Now, another way that you can use adjustment layers is for color correcting and color grading. And for this, I like to use Motion Array. Motion Array is a marketplace with tons of video assets like video templates, stock footage, photos, music, and sound effects. They have a lot of cool features on their website, including the voiceover tab where you can generate AI voiceovers for your videos. They also have tons of plugins for Premiere Pro, which I'll show you a little bit later in this video. I use these all the time as a video editor, and they help add a lot of energy and style to my video projects. And they recently came out with a bunch of new LUTs recently to their collection. So if we go into the LUT section, we can browse and download different LUTs and add them to our project. So for example here, this warm tone LUTs pack looks pretty cool. I'm going to click download. Now back inside Premiere Pro, what we can do here is go back to our projects panel, click and drag out our adjustment layer. I'm going to once again trim it so it's over these two clips here. And then I'm going to switch my workspace to color to bring up the color options. Now with the adjustment layer selected here, we can go under creative, and next to look, we can click on the drop down and click on browse. We can then navigate to the warm tone look that we just downloaded from Motion Array and click open. You can see that it applies it to our footage here. If we hide the layer, you can see the before and after. It gives a nice warm kind of vintage look to our clips, really nice for a road trip. And as you can see, using adjustment layers, we can add that same LUT to several clips in our timeline. Now, another thing you can do with adjustment layers is to create what are called smart adjustment layers. So we have this LUT applied to our adjustment layer, but let's say every time you click and drag that adjustment layer to your timeline, you want to have that warm LUT effect already applied to that adjustment layer. You can do that by adding the LUT or the effect directly inside the source panel of the effects controls. So back inside Premiere Pro, if we click on our clip here and we go inside effects controls, if we scroll down, you can see that we have Lumetri color added to the clip. And from the top menu, you can see that we're under the sequence adjustment layer here. There's also the source tab here. So let's say if we click on this Lumetri color effect, and we hit Command X to cut it, and we go into Source tab, and we click Command V, we can paste this effect into the Source tab. That way, let's say if we delete this adjustment layer, and we click and drag this adjustment layer back out, you can see that the Lumetri color effect is added to that adjustment layer, and it's already applied. We don't have to add it once again. This is what's called a smart adjustment layer, and I recommend organizing them. So back inside the project panel, we can rename our adjustment layer color grade. That way, when you click and drag this out, you can see that we have our color grade essentially as this adjustment layer. So that's how to create smart adjustment layers. And like I mentioned, you can stack different effects to an adjustment layer. So let's say if you wanted to add a crop effect to add maybe cinematic black bars, you can add that as well. Motion Array also has a bunch of different plugins that you can add to clips and adjustment layers. So let's say if we go into our effects panel, I'm going to go down to Motion Array color grading. If we click and drag the CineStyle effect to our adjustment layer here, you can see it adds a cinematic look along with black bars. Now from the preset, we can choose basic letterbox. And once again, we can add this effect to the Source tab. So if we click on it, hit Command X, and then go over to the Source tab and hit Command V, we can add this effect to the Source tab. So now we've created this adjustment layer that has not only the LUT from Motion Array, but also a letterbox and a cinematic look. And inside the project panel, when we click and drag this out, those effects are automatically applied to that clip, and it's over the different pieces of footage here. Now, one other common way that you can use adjustment layers is to add in transitions. So for example, maybe I want to add maybe a film burn transition in between these two clips. What you can do is create another adjustment layer here. So I'm going to go back down to our new item button and go to adjustment layer. Once again, I'm going to click OK, and we can click and drag this out. Just make sure that it's over our cut point here. Then I'm going to go back to Motion Array and browse some of the Premiere Pro presets. They have a transitions category where you can download a lot of different presets for Premiere Pro. And they have this nice film burn overlay that you can add as a preset. So back inside Premiere Pro, I'm going to go to Effects, and then I'm going to right click on Presets and click on Import Presets. Then I'm going to import my presets here that I downloaded. I'm going to click Open. And then I'm going to twirl down, find the preset that I'd like to apply, and then click and drag it to the adjustment layer. Now, when we click and play this back, you can see that we've added in a film burn. You'll notice that it's over our black bars, so we don't really want that specifically. But what you can do is just rearrange the order of the adjustment layers. So you probably want the color grade and the black bars over it. So I'm just going to click and drag that over my transition. And if we click and play this back, we can see that we have this transition here. So those are some of the effects and presets from Motion Array. Now you can get started for free today, and they even have free assets directly on the website. If you create an account, you'll notice that there's a free assets button at the bottom left. You can toggle that and download free assets for your projects. So be sure to check them out. You can use my link down in the video description. If you do decide to go with them, you can save up to $50 off an annual plan. Thank you, Motion Array, and now let's take a look at the next tip. Now, one of the other things you can do with adjustment layers is you can start to build out your different effects, presets, and different assets that you'd like to use over and over again for your project, and then create a project template. So let's say if I wanted to create a new project template and always have this preset available to me inside my project, what you can do is go up to File, Save as Template. You can save this as a Premiere Pro template. For example, I'm going to name it Project Template, click Save. And when I create a new project, I can go down to Template and I can choose that project template. Then when I click Create, that adjustment layer will already be inside my project. So those are adjustment layers. Now, adjustment layers are a great way to speed up your workflow as a video editor. As you can see, they can save a lot of time. Now, if you're interested in learning more ways that you can save time as a video editor, I did make a video where I go over some tips. I will leave that video right up there if you do want to check that out. But that does it for this video. We'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.